The encounter. The stars were silent, broken ships floated in the void, and the black surface of the dead planet below waited like an endless grave. Among the wreckage drifted one human, a survivor who had no reason to still be alive. His name was Daniel, a soldier who had lost his unit, his ship, and almost his hope. But hope was a strange thing. It always clung to him, even when the universe tried to burn it away. Daniel's pod had crashed hard, fire ripping through the sky, leaving a deep scar on the planet's surface. The air here was thin and dry, the ground cracked with ash, the horizon painted with sharp mountains that looked like broken teeth. He carried only a cracked visor helmet, a half-empty canteen, and a pulse pistol that flickered with dying energy. Each step was heavy, each breath hurt, yet he pushed forward because stopping meant death. As he walked through the ruins of some alien battlefield, he saw twisted metal, shattered weapons, and bones that were not human. Some were long and thin like the skeleton of giant birds, others thick and clawed like monsters from nightmares. This was not a place for the living. This was a place for things that had already lost. And yet, in the middle of the silence, he heard something. It was a sound that should not exist here, a deep growl mixed with pain, heavy breathing that shook the dust. Daniel froze, his hand tight on the pistol, his heart racing. The sound came from behind a wrecked war machine. Its massive body split open like a broken beast. Daniel moved carefully, step by step, not sure if he was walking into death or discovery. Then he saw it. A figure lay on the ground, huge and terrifying even in weakness. It was an alien warrior, its armor cracked and smoking, its body marked with glowing wounds that pulsed like fading fire. The creature's face was hidden behind a broken mask, but its eyes glowed faint blue, like lightning trapped in glass. It was bleeding, its chest rising and falling slowly, each breath sounding like thunder rolling in a cave. Daniel should have run. Everything told him this being was dangerous. Humans had fought their kind before. Stories called them ruthless and merciless. But something in Daniel made him stay. Maybe it was because the alien was already beaten. Maybe it was because Daniel was tired of only seeing enemies. Or maybe it was because he saw something in those glowing eyes, not just rage, but pain, loneliness, and a strange question. The alien tried to rise, but collapsed again, its massive hand clawing at the dirt. Its voice came out broken, deep, and filled with anger. Human, it whispered, almost like a curse. Daniel pointed his pistol, his finger shaking, but he did not fire. The alien laughed, a low, broken laugh. "You are afraid." It said, "Good, you should be." Then its head dropped, its body shaking with weakness. Daniel stood there for a long moment, the gun heavy in his hand. He thought of leaving, letting the alien die here alone, one less monster in the galaxy. But his feet would not move. Instead, he knelt, pulling out his canteen, holding it close to the alien's mouth. At first, the creature refused, its lips curling back in pride. But then, slowly, it drank. The water slid down its throat, and for the first time, Daniel saw something different in its eyes. Not hatred, not pride, but confusion, as if it could not understand why a fragile human would offer kindness. Daniel said nothing. He only tightened the strap on the alien's broken armor, trying to stop the bleeding. The alien growled, but did not push him away. In that silence, between two enemies who should have killed each other, a strange bond began. The night on this planet came fast, shadows swallowing the land. Daniel dragged the alien into a broken cave for shelter, using all his strength, his muscles burning with pain. The alien, though half-conscious, still seemed impossibly heavy, like dragging a mountain with hands. Finally, inside the cave, Daniel collapsed beside it, his body shaking with exhaustion. The alien opened its eyes again, glowing faint in the dark. It looked at Daniel and spoke in a voice soft but strong. "Human lie?" Daniel's answer was simple. "Because I am alive, and so are you." The alien closed its eyes, as if thinking about those words. The sound of its breathing filled the cave, deep and slow. Outside, the wind howled, carrying the voices of war long gone. Inside, two enemies lay side by side, one broken human, one fallen alien. Daniel did not know if he had saved his future ally or his future killer. But he knew one thing. This was not the end, this was the beginning. And somewhere, hidden inside the silence of the cave, the alien's body glowed faintly, like something waiting, sleeping, preparing to awaken. The struggle for survival. The cave was cold, the air thin and dry, dust falling from cracks in the ceiling. Daniel sat close to the alien, watching the slow rise and fall of its chest. Every time the alien breathed, the sound shook the walls like distant thunder. Daniel's own breathing was soft, careful, as if the cave itself might wake and swallow them whole. The night outside stretched on, endless and cruel, filled with whispers of wind and echoes of war long gone. Daniel could not sleep, his eyes heavy, but his mind racing. The alien was a stranger, an enemy, a thing he should have feared. Yet here it was, lying broken beside him, alive only because Daniel had chosen not to walk away. At dawn, the pale light entered the cave, touching the alien's armor. Its wounds glowed faint blue, fading and rising like the heartbeat of a star. Daniel checked his canteen, only a little water left. His stomach growled, reminding him that he had not eaten since the crash. But his eyes went to the alien first, its body still trembling with weakness. He thought about leaving, searching for food, maybe for rescue, but something told him the alien would not last alone. He sighed and stayed, breaking a ration bar into two. He placed one half near the alien's mouth, the other in his own hand. The alien opened its eyes, cold and sharp, then turned away, refusing. "Eat," Daniel whispered, his voice dry. "You need it." The alien growled, its pride stronger than its hunger. But Daniel held his ground, pushing the bar closer. At last, the alien took it, chewing slowly, almost angrily. The sound of the crunch echoed through the cave like the crack of bones. For a long time, neither spoke. Only the sound of chewing, the sound of breathing, the sound of silence pressing against them both. Finally, the alien spoke, its voice rough. "You should have killed me." Daniel looked at him, tired eyes steady. "Maybe," he said, "but then I would be alone." The alien's glowing eyes studied him, as if searching for weakness. The day dragged on, each hour heavy. Daniel worked on repairing the alien's broken armor with scraps from the battlefield outside. His hands cut and burned, but he kept going. The alien watched, silent, almost curious. It did not understand this human, this fragile creature who gave instead of taking. At night, Daniel heard movement outside the cave. Shadows passed, voices speaking in a language he did not know. He grabbed his pistol, crawling to the entrance, heart pounding. Through the cracks, he saw figures, scavengers, maybe hunters, their eyes scanning the ruins. If they found the cave, they would kill him and finish the alien too. Daniel's body tensed, sweat rolling down his neck. The alien whispered behind him, "Run, human, save yourself." Daniel looked back, shaking his head, "Not leaving you." The alien's eyes burned brighter, not with anger this time, but with something else, something unreadable. Daniel stepped out just enough, throwing a piece of broken metal far into the ruins. The sound clashed loudly. The hunters turned and followed it. The danger passed, but the silence that followed was heavier than before. When Daniel returned to the alien, he was shaking, his pistol almost slipping from his hand. The alien stared at him for a long time, then said, "Foolish, but brave." Daniel gave a tired smile, "Story of my life." The alien leaned back, closing its eyes, but its lips curled in something almost like respect. Days passed in struggle, each one harder than the last. Daniel hunted small creatures, shared everything he found, never more, never less. He patched wounds, spoke little, and listened to the silence more than his own thoughts. The alien grew stronger, its breathing steadier, its eyes brighter. Sometimes, at night, Daniel saw light moving under its skin, a living fire waiting to wake. One evening, as the red sun fell behind the jagged horizon, the alien spoke again. "You risked your life for me," it said, voice calm, almost soft. Daniel shrugged. "You're alive. I'm alive. That's enough reason." The alien studied him, the faint glow in its wounds pulsing slowly. "You do not fear me?" it asked. Daniel looked into those strange eyes and said, "I do, but fear is not the only thing I have." The alien said nothing more, but the cave seemed to change. The silence was no longer empty. It was heavy with something unspoken. An understanding had begun, a thin thread woven between two enemies who should never have trusted each other. And in the shadows, that thread grew stronger. The alien closed its eyes, whispering words Daniel almost missed. "You saw me at my weakest, human," it said, voice fading. "Perhaps you will see more." Daniel did not know what the alien meant, but he felt it deep in his bones. The struggle was not only about survival. It was about something larger, something waiting just beyond the edge of fear. And as night covered the cave once again, Daniel knew their fight had only begun. Signs of power. The cave was dark. The fire Daniel had built burned low, sending weak light across the stone walls. The alien rested against the cold rock, its breathing heavy but no longer broken. Daniel sat nearby, sharpening a piece of metal into a crude blade, the sound scraping through the silence. Outside, the wind cried like a wounded animal, reminding them that the world beyond was still dangerous. For many nights, Daniel had watched the alien closely. He noticed things that were not human, not natural, not safe. When the alien slept, faint blue light moved under its skin, like rivers of fire trapped inside flesh. At first, Daniel thought it was just the reflection of the dying fire, but no, it came from within. Sometimes the light pulsed in rhythm with its heartbeat. Other times it flickered wildly, like storms trying to break free. One night, Daniel woke to a strange sound. The walls of the cave trembled, dust falling from the ceiling. He sat up quickly, pistol in hand, eyes searching for danger. But it was not an enemy. It was the alien, groaning in pain, body glowing brighter than ever. Its voice echoed deep, shaking the stone, a low growl mixed with thunder. Daniel crawled closer, unsure if he should help or run. The alien's hands clawed the ground, leaving cracks in the stone. Its chest rose and fell as if fire was trying to tear its body apart. Then, just as suddenly, the light faded, leaving the alien weak and shivering. Daniel reached out, touching the armor gently, feeling heat like the surface of a star. The alien opened its glowing eyes, staring at him. "Do not," it whispered, voice strained, "do not touch me when it begins." Daniel pulled back but did not leave. "What is it?" he asked. The alien's eyes narrowed, as if deciding whether to answer. Finally it said, "Power, broken, trapped, waiting to return." Daniel frowned. "So you're healing?" The alien laughed, a dry, bitter laugh. "Healing? No, human. You do not understand." Its body shifted, and for a moment, Daniel saw the shadow of something larger. A shape inside the alien, hidden, chained, but alive. It lasted only a second, but it left Daniel's skin cold, his heart racing. Days passed, and the signs grew stronger. Sometimes when the alien spoke, the cave shook slightly, as if its voice carried more than sound. Sometimes its wounds closed faster than they should, glowing with faint light as they sealed. And sometimes when Daniel looked away and looked back, he swore he saw another form standing where the alien lay. A giant silhouette, too large for the cave, vanishing the moment he blinked. Daniel did not ask more questions, but the weight of curiosity pressed on him. He wondered if he had saved a soldier, a monster, or something far greater. The alien never explained, only watched him with sharp, glowing eyes. At times, Daniel felt like prey under its gaze, but other times he felt like something more, an equal. It was strange, confusing, dangerous, and yet he stayed. One evening, while Daniel was gathering broken metal outside the cave, he noticed something unusual. When he returned, the alien was not lying weak against the stone. It was standing tall, its body glowing faintly in the shadows. For a moment, it looked almost whole, as if the broken armor had mended itself. Daniel froze, the metal falling from his hands with a loud clang. The alien turned its head slowly, eyes burning bright. "You should not have seen this," it said, voice carrying power that filled the air. Daniel stepped back, heart hammering. "Then why hide it?" he asked. The alien looked at him for a long moment, then sat back down, its glow fading like a dying flame. "Because," it said softly, "you are not ready." That night, Daniel could not sleep. He lay awake, staring at the cave ceiling, hearing the alien's steady breathing. Questions swirled inside his mind, questions with no answers. What was this creature? What would happen when its strength returned? Would it still see him as ally or as enemy? He turned his head and saw the alien watching him, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "Sleep, human," it said. "Tomorrow may be worse." Daniel nodded, closing his eyes, though sleep never truly came. In the quiet, he felt the air shift, heavy and strange, as if the cave itself knew something was coming. And in the heart of the night, when Daniel's eyes finally closed for a moment, the alien whispered words he could not hear. Its body glowed once more, brighter than before. Shadows stretched on the walls, forming shapes of wings, claws, and fire. For a brief moment, the cave became a throne room of light and darkness. Then it was gone, leaving only silence. Daniel woke at dawn, unaware of what he had almost witnessed, but he felt it in his bones, deep and unshakable. The alien was not just recovering, it was becoming, and the day was coming when its true form would no longer be hidden. Enemies returned. The silence of the cave had become Daniel's only comfort. For days, he and the alien lived in a strange rhythm, hunting when possible, resting when the world grew too heavy, and waiting for something they both knew would come sooner or later. The war outside had not ended, it had only shifted, and shadows always returned to unfinished battles. One morning, Daniel noticed it first. Footprints in the ash, too fresh, too sharp. He crouched low, touching the ground with trembling fingers. They were not his, and they were not the aliens. They belonged to someone else, and whoever left them was close. The alien stepped out of the cave, its armor still cracked but glowing faint at the edges. It crouched beside Daniel, eyes narrowing. "They are hunting," it said, its deep voice a growl. Daniel's stomach twisted. "Hunting who?" "You." The alien's gaze locked on the horizon. "Huss," it whispered. They hid as the day stretched on. Shadows moved against the ruins, tall figures scanning the land. Strange machines crawled across the surface, lights flickering like eyes searching for prey. Daniel's pulse quickened, his hands sweating against the grip of his pistol. The alien remained still, but its body glowed faintly, as if preparing for something Daniel could not yet see. As the hunters drew closer, Daniel could hear their voices. Not human, not kind, sharp sounds of a language filled with command and cruelty. The alien leaned toward him, whispering, "If they find us, you run." Daniel shook his head, whispering back, "Not leaving you." The alien's eyes glowed brighter, a strange fire burning in the dark. "You risk death for a creature not of your kind," it said softly. "Why?" Daniel whispered, "Because I already chose." The hunters stopped near the entrance of the cave. One of them raised a device, a beam of red light sweeping across the rocks. Daniel's heart hammered, his breath caught in his throat. The alien stayed silent, its massive frame hidden in shadow. The beam moved closer, closer, touching the walls of the cave. Daniel clenched his teeth, ready to fire, ready to throw himself forward. Then he made a choice, reckless and desperate. He picked up a stone and hurled it across the ruins. The noise cracked loud, bouncing between the broken metal and bones outside. The hunters turned quickly, their lights flashing, weapons raised. They rushed toward the sound, leaving the cave behind. Daniel fell back against the wall, chest heaving. The alien stared at him, its eyes unreadable. "You are mad," it said, truly mad. Daniel gave a faint smile. "Mad keeps us alive." The alien growled, but its growl was not anger. It was something else, something Daniel almost thought was respect. Night came again, but the danger did not pass. The hunters circled back, their machines crawling closer. Daniel and the alien had no choice but to move deeper into the ruins. The alien leaned heavily on him, though Daniel knew it was holding back, hiding power. Together they slipped through cracks in the stone, the world outside burning with red lights, searching for them. At one point, Daniel slipped, falling hard. His pistol clattered against the ground, sliding away. One of the hunters turned its head, eyes glowing sharp. It let out a high cry, the sound of alarm. Daniel froze, helpless. Then the alien stepped forward, its eyes blazing, its voice cutting through the dark. The cave shook as it growled, a sound so deep it made the hunters stumble. The glow under its skin burst brighter, streaks of blue fire running across its wounds. The hunters fired their weapons, beams cutting through the dark. Daniel ducked, heat searing past him. The alien lifted its arm, broken armor shifting, glowing light forming a shield of energy that swallowed the blasts. For the first time, Daniel saw it not as a dying creature, but as something terrifying and alive. The hunters hesitated, fear flickering in their movements. Then, in a voice that shook the stone, the alien said, "Leave this place or be ashes." The sound was not just sound, it was power. It crawled into Daniel's bones, and even he trembled, though the words were not meant for him. The hunters backed away slowly, retreating into the shadows. The alien's glow dimmed, its body shaking, collapsing back against the wall. Daniel rushed forward, holding it steady. "You'll kill yourself," he said, voice sharp. The alien laughed weakly. "Perhaps, but not today." The cave fell silent again. The hunters gone for now. Daniel looked at the alien, confusion and awe fighting inside him. "You could have destroyed them," he said quietly. The alien opened its eyes, glowing faint in the dark. "Yes," it whispered, "but then you would have seen more than you are ready for." Daniel said nothing, but the weight of those words pressed heavy on him. He realized now that the hunters were not the greatest danger. The real danger was sitting beside him, broken yet rising, hiding a form the world was not meant to see. And as the fire burned low again, Daniel knew the struggle was far from over. The hunters would return, and so would the truth. The bond. The fire crackled weakly, its glow dancing across the cave walls. Daniel sat close, sharpening a piece of scrap metal into something that might work as a blade. The alien rested against the stone, its glowing wounds dim but steady. The silence between them had grown less heavy, less dangerous, and more like waiting. For many days, Daniel had fed it, carried it, and risked his life to protect it. And for many days, the alien had stared at him with sharp, glowing eyes. At first, those eyes were filled with suspicion and pride. But now there was something else, something Daniel could not name. The night outside was cruel, winds howling, ruins whispering with ghosts of war. But inside the cave, a strange peace lingered. The alien finally spoke, its deep voice breaking the quiet. "You could have left me," it said slowly, "and yet you stayed." Daniel didn't look up, only kept sharpening the blade. "Leaving you felt wrong," he said, "and maybe I'm tired of being alone." The alien tilted its head, studying him. "In my world, weakness is punished," it growled. "No one helps the fallen." Daniel gave a faint smile, though his eyes were tired. "In mine, sometimes weakness is the only thing we all share." The alien was silent, as if tasting those words. Its glowing eyes softened for the first time. As days passed, their bond grew through small moments. Daniel taught the alien how to bind wounds with scraps of cloth. The alien, though weak, showed him how to move silently through ruins. They shared food, shared silence, and even shared fear when shadows passed outside. In those moments, enemies became something else, companions tied by survival. One night, Daniel asked the question he had kept inside. "What happened to you? Why were you left for dead?" The alien's eyes glowed brighter, its voice low and sharp. "My own kind betrayed me," it said. "I was too strong, too dangerous, so they turned their blades against me." Daniel frowned. "Your own kind?" "Yes," the alien whispered. "They feared what I could become." Daniel stared at the fire, his hands tightening on the blade. "I know that feeling," he said softly, "to be feared by the ones you trusted." The alien turned to him, curious. "Your people betrayed you too?" Daniel nodded, his voice heavy. "Not with blades, but with silence," he said. "When I needed them, they turned away." The alien studied him with those glowing eyes, and for the first time, it did not see a fragile human. It saw something familiar, pain it understood. "You saw me at my weakest," the alien said suddenly, its voice almost gentle. Daniel looked up, surprised. "I saw someone hurt," he replied, "not weak." The alien tilted its head, as if those words struck something deep inside. It leaned back against the stone, whispering, "Strange creature, you speak as if you are not afraid." Daniel shrugged. "I am afraid, but I don't let fear choose for me." That night, the cave felt different. The silence was no longer empty. It carried weight, warmth, and something close to trust. The alien closed its eyes, whispering words Daniel almost missed. "Perhaps you have earned something." Daniel frowned. "Earned what?" The alien did not answer, only let its breathing slow, drifting into sleep. But Daniel could not sleep. He sat by the fire, watching the alien's body glow faint in the dark. The light pulsed like a hidden heartbeat. Shadows stretched across the walls, forming shapes that were not human, not natural. He wondered what the alien truly was, and what would happen when its strength returned. In the morning, the alien surprised him. It handed him a piece of broken metal, sharpened carefully into a stronger blade. Daniel looked at it, confused. "You did this?" The alien gave a faint growl, almost like laughter. "You protect me with your weak weapons," it said. "Now you will carry something better." Daniel smiled, holding the blade. "Guess that makes us partners then." The alien's eyes glowed bright. "Partners, yes." From that day, their bond was no longer silent. They spoke more, not much, but enough. Daniel told small stories of Earth, blue skies, oceans, and music. The alien listened in silence, as if the words painted a world it could not imagine. In return, the alien spoke of stars Daniel had never heard of, worlds filled with fire and storm, battles that shook entire skies. For a moment, Daniel forgot they were enemies. For a moment, they were just two survivors sharing pieces of themselves. But the bond carried danger too, because the more Daniel cared, the more he feared. He knew this alien was hiding something vast, something waiting, and when that truth came out, he would not be ready. The alien seemed to sense his fear, but never spoke of it. Instead, it watched him with glowing eyes, whispering once more. "You saw me at my worst, human," it said. "Perhaps you will see my true self soon." Daniel swallowed hard, unsure if those words were promise or warning. The bond had grown strong, but the shadows of truth were growing stronger. And as the fire burned low once more, Daniel realized something. This was no longer just survival. It was the beginning of something greater, something that would change not just him, but the universe itself. The transformation. The ruins were never silent for long. That evening, the sky burned red as strange engines moved across the horizon. Daniel stood outside the cave, his eyes scanning the distance. The sound of machines echoed like drums of war, steady and unending. The hunters had returned, stronger, faster, relentless. The alien sat within the cave, its glowing eyes half closed. Its body still weak, but no longer broken. The light beneath its skin pulsed faster each day, as if something inside was waking. Daniel felt it, saw it, feared it, but he did not speak. He only prepared, checking the pistol that barely held charge, holding the blade the alien had given him. By nightfall, the hunters surrounded them. Red beams cut across the rocks, voices sharp in the alien tongue. Daniel crouched low, heart pounding. The alien rose slowly, its frame trembling yet unbent. "You should run," it said, its deep voice echoing. Daniel shook his head, his voice sharp. "Not leaving you." The first blast tore into the cave wall, rocks crumbling, dust filling the air. Daniel coughed, pulling the alien behind a boulder. Shots rained down like fire, shaking the ground. The alien growled, its body glowing brighter. "You will die here if you stay," it whispered. Daniel shouted back, "Then I die here." The hunters charged inside, weapons flashing. Daniel fired his pistol, the beam weak but enough to slow one. Another rushed forward, blades slicing through the air. Daniel lifted the metal blade, blocking the strike with all his strength. His arms shook, the force too much. The blade cracked, his body thrown hard against the wall. Pain surged through him, his chest heaving. The hunters turned toward him, weapons ready. Daniel closed his eyes, certain it was over. Then the cave shook with a roar that was not human. Daniel opened his eyes, and what he saw burned into his soul. The alien stood tall, its armor breaking apart like shells falling from a growing beast. Light burst from every wound, streaming across the cave. Its body expanded, towering, reshaping, becoming something more than flesh. Wings of fire spread from its back, massive and radiant. Its eyes burned white-blue, brighter than stars. The air itself bent around it, heavy and alive. The hunters froze, their weapons trembling in their hands. The alien's voice filled the cave, no longer weak, no longer broken. "You hunted a dying creature," it thundered. "Now you face what was always hidden." The hunters fired, beams of red cutting through the dark. But the light around the alien rose like a shield, swallowing every blast. The cave became a storm of energy, dust and stone falling in waves. Daniel crawled to the side, shielding his eyes. The glow was too much, burning through shadow, burning through fear. Yet he could not look away. The alien moved like fire itself, each step shaking the ground. One strike of its hand shattered a hunter's machine into ash. Another roar sent the others fleeing into the night. When the dust cleared, silence returned. The alien stood in its true form, towering, wings folding against the roof of the cave. Its body shone with living light, armor no longer broken but reborn. It turned slowly, its eyes falling on Daniel. The human trembled, holding the cracked blade, staring up in awe and terror. The alien stepped closer, its voice low but heavy with power. "You saw me at my worst, human," it said, "and still you stayed." Daniel's chest tightened, his voice barely a whisper. "I did." The alien's eyes blazed brighter. "Now," it said, "you have earned the right to witness my true form." Daniel felt the weight of those words crash over him. His fear melted into something else, respect, wonder, and a dangerous hope. The alien knelt, its massive form lowering so its burning eyes were level with his. "Few are allowed this sight," it said, "and fewer survive it." Daniel gripped the blade tighter, his voice steady now. "Then I'll survive too." The alien's gaze lingered, its expression unreadable. Then it stood tall again, wings stretching, the cave walls trembling. For the first time, Daniel understood the truth. This was no soldier, no broken warrior. This was a being of power, chained and betrayed, now free. And he, a fragile human, had been chosen to see it. The fire between them was no longer small. It was destiny burning, heavy and unstoppable. Daniel knew the galaxy would never be the same. And as the alien's glow filled the cave once more, the question that haunted him grew louder in his chest. Had he saved a friend or unleashed something far greater? The choice. The cave walls still glowed, faint from the alien's transformation. Dust hung in the air, shimmering in the strange light. Daniel stood frozen, his blade cracked in his hand, his chest rising and falling with sharp breaths. Before him, the alien loomed in its true form, wings of fire folded close, eyes burning like stars. The silence after the battle was louder than war. Daniel felt small, smaller than he had ever felt in his life. And yet, he did not look away. Fear was there, yes, heavy and cold, but something else pushed through it. Wonder, respect, even trust. The alien stepped forward, each movement shaking the ground. "You chose to stay," it said, its voice echoing like thunder in a cavern. "You gave food, water, and courage to one who should have been your enemy." Daniel swallowed, gripping the blade tighter, his voice rough. "I didn't do it for reward," he said. "I did it because leaving you to die felt wrong." The alien lowered its head, glowing eyes staring into his. "Strange creature," it whispered, "you saw me broken, and you did not turn away." Daniel's lips curved into a tired smile. "Guess I'm stubborn." The alien straightened, its wings stretching wide, sparks falling like stars from its body. "Now you face a choice, human," it said, its voice heavy with meaning. Daniel's chest tightened. "What choice?" The alien spread its arms, the glow pulsing brighter. "Stand beside me, and you will walk with fire," it said. "You will see battles that crush worlds. You will know secrets of the stars your people have never dreamed." Daniel's heart pounded, his breath catching. "And if I refuse?" he asked. The alien's voice dropped low, sharp. "Then you stand against me, and even your courage will not save you." The cave grew hotter, the air bending with the weight of its power. Daniel felt sweat roll down his neck, his hands trembling. He thought of Earth, of oceans, of skies he might never see again. He thought of the war that had taken everything, leaving him alone. And he thought of this alien, this being who had once been his enemy, the one who had trusted him in weakness, the one he had saved. Daniel raised his head, his eyes steady now. "You say it's a choice," he said, "but maybe it's more than that." The alien tilted its head, glowing eyes narrowing. Daniel stepped forward, close enough to feel the heat rolling from its body. "You could kill me now," he said, "but you didn't. You could have left me when I fell, but you didn't." The alien's expression shifted, a flicker of something almost human passing across its face. "Perhaps," it whispered, "perhaps I waited for someone like you." The glow from his body dimmed slightly, the cave less blinding. Daniel looked up, his voice quiet but steady. "Then tell me," he said, "what happens if I choose you?" The alien leaned closer, its voice filling the cave. "Then you are no longer a soldier of Earth," it said. "You become something greater." Daniel felt his chest tighten, his mind racing. He thought of all he had lost, of the emptiness inside him. And in that moment, he knew the choice was not only about survival. It was about who he wanted to be. The alien's wings spread wide again, filling the cave with light. "Decide, human," it thundered, "stand beside me, or against me." Daniel clenched the cracked blade, staring into the burning eyes. His heart pounded like war drums, his breath sharp. The weight of the universe pressed on his shoulders. And he knew that whatever he said next would change everything. But the words did not come. The fire roared, the shadows stretched. The alien's form burned brighter, waiting, watching, demanding. Daniel's lips parted, his choice on the edge of his tongue. Then the scene froze, hanging between light and darkness. The answer unspoken, the future unknown. The fire faded to black, leaving only silence. And the question echoed into the void. Would Daniel stand beside the alien or against it?